The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of WTJX, its board, staff, or underwriters.
Good day and welcome to Ability Radio. I'll be your host today. My name is Angus Drago. And if you're listening to us for the first time, Ability Radio is brought to you by the Disability Rights Center of the Virgin Islands. And if you have not heard what our mission statement is, it's about advancing the legal rights of people with disabilities, support and empowering families, and providing training and information that promote the overall health and educational development of children and the youth. We are located in both districts. In St. Croix, we are on the west end of the island, west of Kmart in Frederickstead. Our number there is 340-772-1200. And we are also located in Havenside in St. Thomas. And our number there is 340-776-4303. Today, we have with us Mr. Aubrey Gerard. And the focus today on our show is to talk about early intervention with regards to if you think or you know that your child has a disability and what you should do early enough. Mr. Gerard is a parent. He's been Father of the Year a few years. And we're hoping to put some positive spin on intervention, early intervention services in the VI. Mr. Gerard, good morning, and let's get into talking to you. Welcome.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. How you doing?
Good.
How you doing? Thanks for having me on the show today.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Not too in depth, but
yeah, not much. You already said my name is Aubrey Gerard Jr. 46 years old. I'm a proud father of two boys. One is 18 years old, and another one is 15 years old in 10th grade right now.
Right.
I've been employed at the Rhode Island Port Authority for the last 18 years. You mentioned about me being Father of the Year. I was actually, I think it was 2 or 3 years, actually, because I was the president at the Head Start while my boys were attending. So those were some good times dealing with the children of the Head Start school.
I want to highlight, the essence of the show is to highlight the success of early intervention, and also to highlight that in many instances when we look around in the VI and other parts of the world, we see a lot of parents. When we hear about parents, we usually hear about mothers and not enough of fathers. Right. So that's why I'm excited about just talking to you about how everything started in terms of, I know, let me just start off with myself in terms of, I have a son who's disabled as well. Right. And he'll be 25 this year. He's autistic. Okay. And it took a little while to figure out that he really was autistic. We did it really early, but it took us a while, and then we had to go through all of the different processes involved with it. So on your end, though, even though at some point by the time your son, based on what you told me earlier, your son had gotten to the Head Start, he had already made so many improvements because of your early intervention. So if you want to take us just a little bit all the way back there, how you started with it and so forth, I'd appreciate you telling us.
My youngest son, so my two boys, they had their own share of trials and tribulations just coming into the world or coming into this world. But my second son, he had a little more to deal with. His second day born, he was in ICU. That's one of the hardest things to watch a parent have to go through what their child deal with. He made it out in 2 days. And as far as the early intervention, as you mentioned, that honestly, that credit has to go to my mother. which is Miss Nora Mae Williams. Um, she noticed a difference in my youngest son. Um, when he wanted something, he would point to it, and he wasn't even trying to formulate certain words. So I took it as, you know what? He's still young. He's probably like a year and a half, about to make two. So I was like, you know what? He's still young. He's not his older brother who was more advanced in speaking, walking, everything, right? So I left it at that. My mother said, okay. She waited a little while, which wasn't really too long, because grandparents, they really know more than us.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually it was like, listen, no, something is wrong with this boy. Now, at that point in time, I could have took the role and not listen
Right.
or ignore it, but at the end of the day, mommy knows best, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
we looked into it, and she found this program at MCH where the speech therapist there was a lady named Miss Valentine. So we signed him up. It was a free program, and he went twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Those are his days to go to speech class, and he was actually going speech therapy while he was still in daycare.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very young age for him,
Right. But
when he
that's
started getting his treatment.
right. That's good, because
And
that's real early intervention. And
yeah,
and
and when I look back now, he's 15 years old now. When I
mhm.
look back at it now, he's an honor student in school. Like he gets straight A's right now,
Mhm.
you know. He's in the 10th grade, and he wants to be an architect. He's cooking now, and he's doing different stuff. And if when I look back on him, and I said to myself, like, if I had not listened to my mother, where would my son be today?
Right. Right.
You
And
know?
and I want to remind parents out there that there are services available from early, and you should tap into them, whether it's through MCH, the 0 to 3 program, or the
Right.
infant and toddlers program. And let me ask you though, was your son premature? You said
No, he
no, he
actually
wasn't.
wasn't.
Okay.
He wasn't premature. He was on time, but he had a respiratory issue, his
Right.
secondly born, which
Mhm.
had to be rushed to ICU.
Right, right. Because my
Yeah.
son was premature, and as a result of that, when we brought him back,
Hmm.
through all the health challenges, which I wouldn't get into all the detail about,
Right.
um, we had him into the program, and it's through one of those visits with one of the professionals that MCH had hired that she was able to point out to us that there was something different. And we had a
Different with him.
daughter a year after, so as you say, you comparing the children, and you could tell that there was something distinctly different from the way they acted.
Correct.
Um,
Right.
I wanted to ask you a little bit more about when you took him, because you used to take him to therapy all the time, and how that was for you, the challenges you faced, and how he grew out of that and developed and able to succeed today.
Yeah, I actually, I'm very involved in my two boys' life, even up to this day,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I was the one that always took him. He went every Tuesday, every Thursday, and out to come into the classroom with him and it was like three other students. And that went on for about maybe 2, 3 months or so. And then one day I had to drop him off and I had to go do some errands and come back because basically now I'm dropping him to therapy, doing errands, then take him to daycare and then still get back to work, you know? So that day when I got back to pick him up, Miss Valentine was like, she said, listen, after today, you will go find errands to do every time you come and drop him off. I said, well, what happened? So it looked like my presence there in the classroom was distracting him.
Oh, okay.
So that day when I left now, he started to
He was more
do his
focused.
lessons.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
more
More
focused. He was
focused.
identifying objects, and he was actually making an attempt now to speak and say what he wants.
Okay.
And part of the challenge is it's not about just him going to therapy. It actually started it had to continue at home.
Right. Right.
So he would have a habit of, he might want a cup of juice, or he'd point to it and say, uh. So Miss Valentine was like, no, make him say what he wants.
Right.
That's how so basically, it's like going to school, you're doing homework, you do classwork, and then you come home and you do homework.
Mm-hmm.
So we did homework with him at home
Okay.
to help his therapy out. So when he goes back, that he will be a little more better at it, you know. So that was basically his way of getting through speech therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Me not being in the classroom is what started the process to jumpstart.
Okay. I want to go back to what you mentioned in terms of saying that your mom was the one who helped identify the issues and sort of guided you through making sure you took action on it. We have a lot of parents in the community that, they associate delayed development in children with something negative. There's a stigma attached to it. They don't want nobody to know and so forth. And I would just
I'm
want to
ashamed too.
emphasize, and ashamed that it's okay to have your family intervene sometimes, because sometimes the things that are right in front of you, you don't see them.
And that was me. That I definitely
Yeah.
didn't see. I definitely didn't see it. I mean, if my mother didn't notice it and pointed it out, I mean, his speech impediment wasn't even sort of the only issue that she noticed. She also noticed that his left leg was kind of like kind of lazy.
Mm-hmm.
So he went through so much. I mean, this and that. His legs wasn't developing fully, so he wasn't walking right away. So while he was going speech therapy, every Monday he would go to the hospital to put two casts on his leg.
Wow.
You understand what I mean? So he would go Monday. He would go to the hospital, put on a new cast. Then Tuesday he would go therapy on Thursday, and then Saturday he would take them off at home, and then go back Monday to put on a fresh pair of casts
Wow.
to help his leg straighten out. So those issues were both noticed by my mother from the
Wow.
jump.
How?
And again,
Uh-huh.
I could have taken a position of like, nah, nothing is wrong with him. You overreacting, whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
I could have did that, but then I actually saw it one day when he was trying to pull himself up off the ground. His
Mm-hmm.
leg like was dragging, and then of course when you watch him speaking, it's like he wants to sit on, but he does not point.
Okay.
So again, I give all the credit to my mother for noticing that, and that's how we got started. If she didn't do that, I don't know where we would have been right now.
In terms of having him play with other kids or his siblings and so, how was that in terms of a challenge for you and navigating that as a parent?
Playing with his brother was never an issue. I mean, like I said, it wasn't an issue at home. By the time he got to, and by the time he had a head start,
Right.
really and truly. If you didn't know that he was at speech therapy, you would have never known
You
that he
would have,
had a
right.
speech problem.
Right.
But I don't know. I think he was more so, even to now, he kind of is like a loner. So he stays by himself a lot. So going Head Start, it was more so he just happened to have gotten two teachers that his brother had, especially Miss Faulkner.
Right.
So she basically took him under his wing immediately, and that helped him come out of his little shyness at Head Start. And
So,
he just blossomed from there.
so he had to deal with both that physical disability and also the speech impediment
Yep. At the same time.
at the same
At
time.
the same time. Yeah. Yeah. He had a rough week. Like I tell you, he I had to carry because he had two cars and then he go into speech class, and he go in daycare.
What was the support network for you though at home in terms of your mom and any other family member in terms of providing any kind of support?
Oh, I mean, I had full support from everybody, full support. I would take him to, like I said before, I would take him to therapy and daycare during the day. On Mondays, when he go to the hospital, that was grandma duty.
Okay.
And not that I gave it to her. Grandma was
Right,
like,
right.
"No, I doing this. I'm taking him." I said, "Okay, you go ahead, take him." You know, so that I mean, when it comes to support, and I can't complain. I got more than enough support.
Right. Because
More than enough.
a lot of parents out there think that they always have to do it themselves.
Yeah,
Even with you doing a lot yourself, there's always room for somebody to provide a little support, a little break from just everything that you have to do, work and take care of
yeah,
things.
yeah. Because it becomes a lot, And I know there's parents who have worse to deal with. I mean, like you yourself, your situation a little more intense than mine.
Yeah. Hmm.
So when you're passionate though, in terms of your children's development and you're an involved parent, yeah,
Mm.
you want to do everything. You want to see them shine, you want to see them prosper and grow and be healthy. But at the end of the day, having a little help from family circle doesn't hurt. You know what I mean?
Right, right, right. And the thing
Because
about it is and that's one of the things we promote at Disability Rights Center is the self advocacy piece. Because all of what
mhm,
you're talking about is self advocacy. You're actually doing a
right,
lot of that yourself. You don't have to wait for, say, the government or somebody else to step in to help you. The services are out there. We go out and we get it. Sometimes the services may not be out there. Because I
but we
remember instances with my son where the
uh
services were not available. They just didn't have speech therapists or
at the time,
occupational therapists at the time,
right?
so that's a huge challenge. And I just want to remind parents out there that even if that doesn't work, or if there are no support services available because of lack of staffing or whatever, you still have a
hmm
right for those services.
Right, definitely.
And you should advocate vehemently for them, because if you don't do that early intervention, and that's what I really want to stress today, that if you don't do the early intervention, you have no idea how far back your
Yeah.
child could be.
And then the only person that's suffering is the child
Yep,
at the end of the
absolutely.
day, because again, look where my child is right now. You would
My
never know that he went through all of these issues at 15 years old now, and he's an honor student.
Right, right.
Straight A's.
Yeah,
You would never
absolutely.
know.
Yeah. What sort of encouragement you would have for parents out there
For
trying to
parents, man, the best thing I could tell parents is to be aware that early intervention is, like, I can't stress it enough. It's very, very important. I mean, just hearing my testimony and my interview today should let you know, because you're not gonna see everything as a parent. We want to, but we're not. Outside your outside person sees more than you sometimes,
Mhm.
and we have to take heed to what they say and not feel like they're trying to bring you down or make fun of your child. Nah, they're trying to give help.
Mhm.
Because if I had ignored what my mother said, again, who knows where my son would have been today?
I
You
had
know
a
what I mean? Because my mindset was that, hey, he just ain't developed yet, fast as his brother. He gonna be all right. That was my initial mindset. Until my mother really pushed the issue, and she was like, "Listen, no, something is wrong. We have to look into this right now." And I said, "Okay, that's fine."
yeah.
I didn't fight it. I didn't go against it. Um, there was no shame on my part. I was like, "Yo, my son needs help,
Mhm.
and we have to find him the help." Simple as that.
Yeah. And what you mentioned with regards to shame is really important, because we have to find a way to destigmatize all of these types of issues in our community. I was recently at the Ag Fair.
Uh-huh.
We had a tent there. We provide a lot of materials, information. We talk to people. We do surveys and so forth. And an elderly lady, came by, and she was asking us about who we are, what we do, and so forth. So I was trying to give her some information, looking at her and say, well,
Right.
okay, these are some of the services that would work for you because of who you are and your age. And she was like, well, I wanted to check on something different. She says she has a neighbor, and the neighbor has a child with Down syndrome. So immediately I rushed over to all of that information that we normally would pass on to parents with children with disabilities. And she was like, no, don't give it to me. I cannot give it to them because they don't want nobody to know the child has a disability, and she doesn't really know how to approach the subject with them. So there are still people in our community
it is.
that are not welcome, and there's help, and they're not welcome in the help. And you cannot, as a parent, you're not going to live forever. And as you age and you have to look after that child with a disability, it becomes harder for you. I mean,
definitely.
You and I talking about lived experience. Fortunately for you, you were able to do that, get that intervention, and get it done early. Yeah. I have a sister who is disabled, and she's been home with my mom. My mom is going to be 80 years old this year.
Oh wow!
And she's like 40 something. God forbid if my mom passes, what's going to happen?
Right.
So as I'm just pointing out to a lot of the parents out there, if you know your child has any developmental issues, make sure you address it. The services are there, they're available to you, and take advantage of it. In many other countries in the world, they don't have those services. Even those hours sometimes is limited, sometimes you don't have, I said, the staff to do some things.
Right.
But you have, under the law, you have a right, and you must advocate for that right as a parent.
And they need to take advantage of that.
Yes.
Because even, and last thing to the parents out there, even if you think your child might have an issue or a problem, look into it. It doesn't hurt you, doesn't hurt the child. You're only helping. You never know what you might be able to find and might be able to prevent, A lot of times we do a lot of reactive stuff instead of preventive stuff. So you catch something early, you can prevent instead of reacting to the problem that happens afterward. So again, if you think that your child has an issue, look into it right away.
And the thing is that it's not just say, you look into it and you go to the medical professionals. Part of getting services, say for IEPs, which is the individual educational plans for children with disabilities, is to get that evaluation done. Get it done early for the Department of Education, so that your child could be on a path for success. And even through that program, you have your child evaluated every year, and the services are available for that child.
Yeah,
and that's really important to get that evaluation. Now I know the Department of Education has had some instances where they've been backed up and they don't have enough staffing. Granted, we understand all those things, but a special effort needs to be made, because that child time is not waiting for that child for you to get a speech therapist or an evaluator to come and look at it. So, but as a parent, and that's what I want to really emphasize today, as a parent, you need to take the bull by the horn and advocate for yourself. And we're at the CVI. If you need our assistance, sitting in your IEPs or getting evaluations done through the Department of Education, we will fight for them. If you have a child who has a physical disability and they need access, and that's under the 504 plans, we're here. We can provide you with support services, even legal, because that's what we do, legal services. We've had instances where a child might be assigned to a certain school. They provide the service of getting the child to that school, but when the child gets there, there's nobody to greet that child or take the child to the classroom. And that's right there's a lack of services. And as a parent, you want to advocate for that. You want to follow up all the way through to make sure that your child is getting those services. And like we mentioned earlier in the show, early intervention is the key. Earlier intervention.
It's key. Yeah, it is.
We're getting close to our time here. I really appreciate it, Mr. Gerard. I just wanted to know that not just the same way that you've advocated for your son and you've gotten those services, early intervention with you and your family, that encourage other parents to do that. If you see something out there, we are all part. We live in this community, and if somebody is left behind, we all get left behind.
We all yep, I agree.
So I just want to thank you exactly for coming out and spending some time with us to discuss it. This is Ability Radio, and we really appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me on today.
Right. I just want to extend also a thank you to your mom, because it was instrumental in making sure that you got the services for your son. And to let everyone know that we are in both districts, Disability Rights Center. We are west of KMAT in Frederickstead. Our number there is 340-772-1200. And we are in the St. Thomas St. John district at Haverside. And our number there is 340-776-4303. Give us a call if you figure you need assistance. If we cannot provide assistance for you, we always can refer you to somebody who could help you. Good day. Mr. Right, Gerard, I thank you for taking the time out and appreciate it.
Never a problem. But I'd like to thank you for having me on also. Mm-hmm. And a special thanks to Miss Deshawn Williams.
Okay. Good.
That's who she volunteered me. That's how this whole interview process came about.
Yeah, because sometimes we have to talk about positive things, so that's good.
Yeah, I know Ms. Williams from my Head Start days as president there. For the 4 years as president, she contacted me, and that's how this came to life today. So I have to give her a special thanks for that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gerard. I appreciate it. And to our listening audience, have a blessed day.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of WTJX, its board, staff, or underwriters.